afternoon. Welcome to Jacksonville and Tony's Tangent. I'd like to take a minute to thank you for joining us. We're hoping that we can enlighten and educate, bringing about empowerment as we go forward in our futures. I'd like to take a minute to introduce Tony. Here he is.
What's going on, family? My name is Anthony Brown. Been doing community work since 2006 with the Katrina evacuees, and the ancestors have brought me back to Jacksonville full circle to do work here. The purpose of Tony Tangent is to enlighten, to educate, so you are equipped with the information that you need, so then it is easier for you to execute the action steps that we need to have in order to move some of these initiatives and these ideas forward.
Sounds great. Our topic today is going to be, does voting work for the Black community? What do you think the purpose of voting is?
The purpose of voting is simple. When I vote, it's to gain accessibility for resources. I'm not voting just for the sake of voting. I'm voting for something specific to my demographic and to the group of people that I belong to.
Does voting for the lesser of two evils work?
I do not believe voting for the lesser of the two evils works. I do believe in voting down ballot if necessary.
What does that mean, down ballot?
When you vote down ballot, it means that you have two candidates. In this case, we're going to use Trump and Biden. And you don't want to vote for either one of the two because both of them are racist. In the case of Trump, he's a misogynistic, racist person as well. And he doesn't do anything for our community that's going to be any benefit. So, because the electoral colleges are going to choose that person anyway, I would recommend, instead of focusing on voting on lesser of the two evils of the persons or the people who don't care anything about Black folks anyway, let's focus in on folks, man, who have more of a direct impact on you. Not only that, but I also believe that if we truly valued our vote, we would vote more in a block. Yeah, I hear people saying that we're not a monolith and we have people that vote for different parties. Both of the parties don't have your best interests at heart. But at least if we held our vote and we were organized, once the politicians saw that we had all those votes that could be used and gained to their benefit, we should have a plan in place once they come to us and ask us exactly what we want.
Does the color of the politician matter?
No.
Really?
It doesn't. I could care less if you got dreads. I could care less if you got a bald. I could care less if you're high yellow. My concern is, are you raising Black in terms of your policy? Does what you say, more importantly, does the legislation that you push forward do anything for Black folks in terms of redistributing real, tangible resources in the community? And too often we have Black folks running around here who exploit Black folks just because they look the same as they do. Quick lesson. 1964, you had over 103 Black elected officials.
That's great, right?
No, not necessarily. Once you get to 1991, you had over 9,100.
Oh.
Now, common sense would tell you that because you've had such an uptick in Black politicians, that the community they represent would improve. Not the case. Social indicators tell you that the community and the quality of life actually went down. One of the reasons for that is Black politicians, more times than not, are not financed by folks that look like us. They have to beg and claw and plead and beg somebody else in order to campaign, in order to fund their campaign. Black folks, if they really want the politicians to do something for them beneficial, have got to learn to open up that checkbook, end up that purse, write some checks, and get that person, man, to come on their side of the aisle. The other thing that's problematic and too problematic about Black politicians is they always feel as if they have to take care of everyone first before taking care of their own demographic of folks. Too often we see things through the eyes of the white dominant society, which keeps us in a constant state of paralysis in terms of making the real tough decisions that are beneficial for us.
If you could ask your ancestors today, how do you think they would feel about our approach to voting?
I think they would be disappointed. I think it's needless to say that some of them are rolling over in their grave right now. Not because you're voting, but because of the onus and the importance you put on the vote. See, this is what we have to understand, family. Voting in itself is not the end-all be-all. It is merely a tool to be put in the liberation toolbox in terms of us getting to where we need to get to. If you have to pay homage to your ancestors, organize the way they did. Even when the 64 bills and the 65 bills were passed respectively, they still organized and they still were pushing for better for our community. So let's worry about shaming people, worry about that less about shaming people because they didn't vote, and worry about organizing so we can understand the importance of the vote and get something tangible in our community.
Well, then that would lead into, is that part of how we can make our elected officials accountable?
I think there are a number of different ways to make our elected officials accountable. The obvious way is to do like corporations do for white politicians, which is to pay them off and control them that way. Since we don't want to do that, the other option that I would recommend for black folks specifically is to be more organized and move more in a group and or a mass dynamic. Meaning, if there's anything that's going on in terms of civic engagement, Duval County School Board, any form or any function in which we can show and be shown in numbers, we can hold them accountable and call them out. The other thing we also can do is we also can bombard them with phone calls, emails, calls, letting people know that what they're doing is not efficient, what they're doing is not up to standard, and we require more than that in order for us to move forward and in order for us to have a community that's going to put us on par with every other community so we can be a group of people who can compete moving forward.
Great. Thank you for spending some time with me.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You could have, again, been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here hanging out with Anthony, aka Tony's Tangent. There are a couple of books, though, that I want to recommend so you can do the homework and the research yourself. 2 books by Claude Anderson. One of them is Powernomics. The other book is Black Labor, White Wealth. Also, I recommend Dr. Amos Wilson's book, Blueprint of Black Power. Also, for those who want to see something on YouTube, I recommend a speech. One of my favorite speeches and something that speaks to this subject is The Ballot or the Bullet by Malcolm X. It is an awesome speech. It is about 55 minutes long, but it addresses everything that we're talking about in the topic that we addressed today. In closing, I want to encourage everyone to come back next time on Tony's Tangent. Please feel free to reach out to me via email. That's TB, that's Tango Bravo 7787 at yahoo.com. Also, you can reach me at Facebook, Anthony Brown. Tony's Tangent is on that page as well.